you can. So I think as of now, we are 3 people who have joined. So let's wait for other participants to join in, and then we'll be starting. All right, we have, I guess Ajinkya has joined in just now. So people are joining in. Let's wait for a few minutes, and then we'll be starting shortly. Okay, Vishwadeep has joined as well. We have 5 people now. We wait for 2 more minutes. I think we have some more people joining in. We'll start at 10:35. We have 6 people as of now who have joined in. Okay, we have Kirti just joined in, Ajinkya is there, UVN, Vishwadeep, and myself.
Good morning, sir. I just wanted to know for the simulation, do we have 2 trial runs or we have only 1 trial run?
Yeah, actually, may I know what has been communicated to you guys from either Nasim or Grant? Any particular mail?
In the async, it is written 2 trials for this one, and it will end today. And then the valuation will start from the next one, which becomes active from tomorrow.
Okay, so fair enough. I think that's good to go then. The same information is what I have got as well. So the first 2 runs that you have by today is the practice runs. So make the most of it. I think when you do the run for the first time, maybe it'll take you an hour or so. After that, I think you are well versed with what are the basic parameters which probably you guys would be working on. So in your next practice run, you can use them and try to ensure that you are performing better than the first trial run. Okay. Beyond that, I think the next 2 assessment runs is where probably you would already have a predetermined strategy and you will try to improvise your decisions further. That is how we kind of go about the simulation part. So just for everyone's information, those people who have joined in just now. So we have 2 practice runs which are ending today, and then you have 2 assessment runs, which is where your performance will be graded. Now, any deadline that you guys have been communicated about assessment run? Any deadline for assessment run?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. So we have almost a week then to perform these simulations. And I think by then already will be covered with, let's say, our session today. So 3 sessions will be covered. That will help you particularly in making product related decisions and pricing related decisions. Both are critical for your decisions in this simulation. So we'll discuss about that. Okay. All right, thanks, Kirti. So I think we are good to go then. We have some more people who joined in. We are 7 people as of now. I think we'll start off, and meanwhile others will be joining in. So once again, good morning to all of you. Thank you for taking out time on a Sunday morning for this particular session, which is our session number 3 on the module of marketing, web, and social media analytics. Now, in our session yesterday, we were looking at consumer behavior analytics. In fact, we looked at various kinds of matrices. We looked at the data formats, and then we had a quick run through on the RFM segmentation part. Okay, so that is what we had discussed in our session yesterday. Now let's take it forward from here, and do let me know if you have any questions, queries, or clarifications required. We discussed about the simulation just now. I hope all of you are able to attempt the simulation in the practice runs. Okay. All right. So over here, the key topic that we have for our discussion today is product and price related decisions and optimization from the analytics point of view. This is where I have broken down, let's say roughly with respect to our async content and sync content. The async content is where you have a dedicated module on product and price optimizations, where various sections are covered to give you an insight into how can we use data for making marketing mix decisions, or basically the product and price decisions. Promotion is a part of the last session, which is the module 4, marketing campaign analytics. So our session today is mapped to module number 3. And in the next week, we will discuss, I guess Saturday is when we have the session, where we'll discuss about the next component of marketing mix, which is promotions. Okay? Promotions and the place part, the distribution part. Now, in our session today, what I have done is we'll take a quick recap of the key concepts. There were a lot of things that we discussed yesterday. So we look at the key concepts that probably will be applicable for your decisions in the simulation as well. Then we move towards product and pricing related analytics, which is where we will discuss concepts like market basket analysis, sentiment analysis, probably with respect to pricing decisions, what can be done. If let's say we are evaluating some communication, then in that case, or maybe we are evaluating product versions during trial, then we'll look at A/B testing, and we look at the concepts of how we can prioritize our decisions using data and implement maybe a strategy from the marketing mix perspective. That is the whole topic that we have for our discussion today. We'll start off with a quick recap. So let's go back and look at consumer behavior analytics, the key concepts that we discussed. Now, can you guys remember about some of the matrices that we were discussing yesterday? Some metrics to measure, customer behavior, actions, let's say intentions, motivations of the customers, attitude of the customers. Any metrics that comes to your mind quickly? Let's take a recall. Okay, you were saying we have customer acquisition cost, so CAC and CLV. So 2 are covered over here by UVN. Anyone else would want to add? So let's say we also had revenue. If we add it to CAC and CLV, these 3 were the financial parameters. Any non-financial parameter that you can recall? And you can type that in the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Okay, so let me give you a hint. We discussed about NPS, Net Promoter Score. We discussed about customer satisfaction then, which is a CSAT part. We discussed about customer effort score, CES, then ART, or average time for resolution. We have FCR, how many resolutions are happening in the first call itself. Okay, so there can be various metrics like this, which can help us to understand more about the customers. This is what we had discussed in our last session. Broadly, we were classifying these analytics from the data point of view to answer 4 questions. You want to know who are the people who you are dealing with, or who are your customers, who are your prospects. That is what we capture with the identity data. What about these customers, preferences, decision making, and so on and so forth? This is what we look at from the quantitative perspective and descriptive perspective. So what about the decisions? What is the size of the market? What is the potential? What is the demand? Why, let's say, such kind of decisions are being taken by the customers, and how and when the decisions are being taken, the attitude part of it. This is where these matrices is what we had mapped. So revenue, CAC, CLV, these were financial aspects. Then we have the customer qualitative data, which is CES, CSAT, NPS, ART, and FCR. Now, these are certain set of matrices, and let's say if you work across industries, you will find that these are the ones which frequently will encounter across the industries or segments itself. We discussed about classification or segmentation of our target audience, let's say existing customers, either using these matrices or RFM segmentation is in particular. It is very widely used, let's say, method for segmenting your existing customers. You can segment your existing customers into, let's say, loyal customers with the highest RFM scores. You can look at, let's say, upsell customers, cross-sell customers, to which probably you will design some specific offering. And then you have those customers who probably are not profitable for your company, products, services. These are the ones where you have to take a decision whether you need to let them go or whether you will define or design a specific offerings for them. These were the areas which we kind of looked at in our session yesterday. Now, do you remember the process of RFM segmentation? So let's say if you have to do RFM segmentation, where do we start? Anyone wants to talk about it, or you can mention in the chat. So if you have to do RFM segmentation, where do we start? We start with the data, first of all. Okay, so we need a data stream which should capture recency, frequency, and monetary aspects. So how recently the transaction has occurred for an individual customer, what has been the frequency of transactions, and what has been the average monetary value of these transactions. Using these three, then we worked on ranking. So we worked on first step, which was the RFM ranking part. So ranking becomes our step number one. Then we worked on scoring. We defined or classified 5 segments yesterday. Roughly 3 to 5 segments is generally the norm in which industry works. You can have more or less as well, but typically 3 to 5 is a good segment to define. Then on the basis of ranking scoring, we defined our RFM segments based on average values of RFM scores. Okay. This is something which is a very simple, straightforward method implemented in the companies using tools. We will also see some of the tools today from not from RFM perspective, but just from the data capture perspective. The process will remain the same. You will also have a lot of CRM tools, or we call them customer relationship management tools. Anyone remembers any CRM tool? Probably you might have used it in your company, or maybe you would have come across while going through the modules with Upgrad or Narsimunji. Any CRM tool that comes to your mind from the Indian industries, in companies in India using them? Salesforce, okay, very nice. So we have Salesforce, a very prominent one. vTiger, okay, all right. So anything else which is a competitor of Salesforce? Okay, SAP, very nice. So we have SAP already has their offerings. In fact, Salesforce is also kind of very similar in terms of managing, let's say, the Salesforce, the front line, with respect to how SAP does it for the overall employee level. Have you guys heard about HubSpot? HubSpot is one of the very popular CRM tools. So globally, in the CRM industry, the largest tool by market share is HubSpot. And apart from this, Salesforce is another one, which is kind of very widely used. There are many other tools also. For example, probably some of you, if you're in Bangalore, you would have seen Zoho CRM being used very widely. Maybe in some of your companies also, you would have seen that Zoho has built a very nice suite, a homegrown CRM system, which gives you a functionality, especially in the tech domain. A lot of companies use Zoho CRM. Okay? There are various CRM. The main purpose would be to capture data of your customers, which are either in the pipeline or are your existing customers. You would want to understand, let's say, things like segmentation, classification, RFM metrics, and so on and so forth using these tools. Okay. Now, apart from, let's say, looking at the RFM segmentation, we also discussed about various other kinds of segmentation. So, for example, for a marketer, traditionally, we would classify or create segments using geographical parameters, demographic, psychographic or lifestyle characteristics, and behavioral parameters. You can define your segment using a combination of them. And let's say if you're doing or creating ads on, let's say, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, you will find that everywhere, these are the options which are provided to you. So if you want to create a segment for showing your ads, for reaching out to people, doing some activity, you would typically have these kind of options available in the marketing tools. Okay. We also discussed about socioeconomic classification, which is for the household. So let's say on a global marketing level, generally household segmentation is done to understand a particular economy, a particular country. And then you have generation-based segmentation, which can be done very easily to understand the nuances with respect to the generations, typically based on the age of the candidate or the year of birth. Now, on the basis of this, if you look at the marketing analytics problem, we are working towards either solving for these 5 situations. Either we are classifying the customers into segments, or we are trying to establish cause and effect relationship. Are 2 variables linked to each other? Let's say if you increase the price, do people buy more or they buy less? This kind of a cause and effect situation. We look at charting, which is where we try to analyze if there is some unusual behavior, an outlier. Then can we look at huge data sets and can we figure out certain things which can be grouped together? We call them as clusters. These clusters can be created for a specific way of reaching out to customers or understanding customer segments. And then the last one is about prediction. In fact, prediction is, or regression is, the part where you would want to understand, based on the decisions that the marketer is taking, what will be the impact on revenue, profit, market share, customer satisfaction, and so on and so forth. So these are the typical problems that we will get to solve in a real life situation. The last point that we discussed in our session, what is the difference between segmentation and grouping? Good that you brought it over here. So over here, segmentation is from the perspective of customers who are already there with us. We want to categorize them or group them on the basis of some characteristics. Okay? So demographic characteristics, psychographic characteristics, maybe behavioral parameters, or geographic parameters. Okay, so when we create those groups, we call them classification or segmentation. Okay? Coming to the cluster part, this is where, let's say you have huge data sets. Let's say you've got behavioral data, which is people, these many people, they are shopping in malls. These many people, they're shopping in, let's say, big bazaar, small outlets, outlets which are, let's say, vegetable vendors, and so on and so forth. Okay. So suppose we got a huge data set where we were capturing where are people purchasing things. Okay. Now, if you look at this data set and plot it across, let's say, 2 parameters, one is time and second is, let's say, the place of purchase. Okay. Now, when we plot this up, maybe on our chart, we will have certain clusters appearing from this raw data, which can be grouped together. Now, these groupings can be having people from different segments, okay? But we consider them together on the base on one specific parameter, which is the place of purchase. They have a commonality, okay? So when we classify or when we cluster people together based on a specific attribute, then we refer to clustering technique or grouping technique. When we classify people into segments or categorize them on the basis of demographic, psychographic, behavioral, or geographic parameters, that is where we call this exercise as segmentation. So a very slight difference between the two. One is on the basis of creating unique segments from the understanding of a marketer. Second is by looking at the data, can we kind of cluster or group people, products, things, behaviors together. That is the difference which we have between segmentation and grouping. In fact, going forward, if the time permits, I'll show you one example in the next session to kind of bring out this difference as an exercise between classification problem and a clustering problem. In fact, in our company itself, currently we are working on a big data project in the telecom industry, where the first step is classification, and the next we will be working on clustering or grouping. Okay? So I'll bring that out if the time permits. But for now, very simple difference. From the marketer perspective, we classify or segment. By looking at the data in a specific attribute, we cluster things together. That is called as grouping. Okay. All right. Is that good to go? All right. So let's move forward then. Let's look at the last point that we had in our session yesterday, which was about churn. Now over here, churn is where we studied that typically acquiring new customer is going to be much more costly as compared to maybe selling things to our existing customers. And that's the basic concept, which is where a company would work on retention, would work on building loyalty of the customers, keep profitable customers engaged, get them coming back again and again. This is how we build a sustainable business. So our objective would be two activities which happen in real life. Maybe some of you, if you have worked in the sales department, you would know that there is something called as hunting and there is something called as farming. Okay. Now, these two activities is where sales team is generally working, and same thing is applicable to the marketing team. Hunting is when you're looking to new customers, okay? Looking to acquire new customers. Farming is when you are farming or you're getting more and more sales done to your existing customers. Okay. Now, what typical is split in the industries is 75% to 80% of the time people spend on farming. Okay. And the remaining 25% or 20%, 20 to 25% is what companies focus on hunting. Okay. This is a typical split. Now, this example is for industrial lubricants industry, for example. This is what when I was working as a key account manager, the sales head, the national sales head used to kind of tell the sales team that this is how we have to operate. Our focus for most of the time would be on existing customers. So 80% of the time. So let's suppose I have a month plan of traveling, visiting customers. Then out of the month of, let's say, 25 days, out of these 25 days, in 15 to 18 days, I will be visiting existing customers. 1 week, I'll be kind of keeping for acquiring new customers. That is a typical mindset with which most of the large sales teams work in Indian market, also and abroad. For a new company or a new startup, of course, we'll have to do more hunting, less farming. So that is the only context which changes. Now, with that background, let's move on to our next session, which is the session today, which is on product analytics. So here also what we'll do is we will look at the key concepts, the data first. We'll look at an exercise where we want to capture data. So I'll open it up for you guys to have a group exercise, build something together. I'll shortly brief you about what you have to do. In the process, we'll get to understand and appreciate the different thought process which people have when they want to capture product related data or a brand related data. Then we will take it forward and try to look at same thing on the pricing side. Okay. So over here, if you look at product analytics, broadly the concept is there are two stages. One is during the product trial, okay, when we are creating the product or we are doing a trial, whether this product requires some additional features or some features should be removed and so on and so forth. So when you are building the product, then there is some data that can be captured. This will help us to refine the product. And once the product is launched, then we need to do product evaluation to launch product extensions, to create a brand. This is where the second set of metrics are required or measurements are required on the product analytics side. Broadly, these are the two classifications. Okay. Now, in both the stages, if we look at the various kinds of data that we will capture, then we can segment our data into 5 buckets. First, we will look at the types of product data. So all the raw data which are generally being captured for the product part or product analytics. This is what we will understand first. Then we'll look at some live tools. So we'll cover some social media marketing tools which can help us to capture product data or customer feedback. The second is we will look at some web analytics tools to understand how we can use them for capturing product data. The process that we understand through these two or few tools will be applicable to various other tools as well. So tools for product data. Once we have clarity on a few basic ones, then we can look at all other tools for capturing the product data. Then out of this data, we will look at product metrics, just like we looked at customer behavior metrics. We'll define product metrics. Then we'll look at the decisioning part, which is using the data and the matrices. How can we leverage data analytics for driving customer experience? That is how the module will flow today, or the session will flow today. Let's start off with the types of product data, first of all. And for that, we go to the basics of market research. Now, can you guys let me know, have you gone through a module on market research or marketing research? Or has anyone worked in their previous work experience on marketing research? Conducting surveys, questionnaires, and so on and so forth. Anyone has done that? Or were you kind of taken through a module over here? Okay, no. All right, so let me give you a quick perspective then. So over here, before I take you through the product data part, as a marketer or a marketing analytics person, you want to conduct market research and look at the data and matrices to make your decisions. Okay, so we look at basically 3 types of market research. Okay, this is not a part of your session or the module. This is what I'm trying to bring it from the industry side. So in industry, we conduct something called as exploratory research. Now, this is a research which is where we are trying to figure out what is the problem. Okay, we are trying to define the problem better. Okay, so many times what happens is you have a situation where you would want to first understand whether you are looking at the right problem or not. Okay, so for example, out of pricing, out of product features, out of, let's say, the place of promotion and the place where people are buying the products, which is the one which is most critical for selling, let's say, a two-wheeler. Okay, now this is a very wide problem. Okay, we want to study multiple facets over here. So we have product, price, promotions aspect, place of distribution, or the distribution model aspect. We need to narrow down this problem. Okay, so we begin with exploratory research, where we would want to look at how exactly buying is happening in a particular market for two-wheelers, let's say in India. Which is the consideration set which is most important? Is the product feature is the most important thing, and so on and so forth. So this is about getting the problem much more specific. Okay, once the problem becomes much more specific, we do something called as descriptive research. Okay, so I'll just type in the chat descriptive research. Now this is a stage where maybe we have narrowed down the problem. We understand that probably in the North India, for example, pricing is playing a major part, though product features are also important. Okay, so this is something which is becoming much more narrowed down. This is where we have descriptive research, which will help us to understand and define sub-problems in a specific format. So this is what we can then test in the market. So I'll just type in the chat. Define sub-problems in a specific format, which is where the marketer or a marketing analytics person can further work. Okay. The last piece of research is called as causal research. Okay. This is where we try to understand the cause and effect. Okay. If I change this, if I change price, what will be the impact on two-wheeler sales in Delhi? Okay, so let's say this is a very, very specific problem now. Here we are trying to study the cause and effect. Now, in these 3 different areas of research, product data can also fall. Some of the product data might get captured in the exploratory part, some in the descriptive part, some in the causal research part. But broadly, you should be clear that this is a typical method which happens in real life. People first try to define the problem better. Then after the problem is defined, we try to explore it and create it into sub parts or sub problems to solve for. And then we look at causal research and try to understand, if I change, let's say, my decision, what will be the impact on the outcome. That is how a typical process works. Now, in order to do this, we have product data, which can be of various types. So over here, depending on the phases, the first phase would be product development, where we are trying to create a new product. Okay. So this the data which is captured during the stages of product development would be mainly opinions of people, maybe the lifestyle, maybe some behavioral characteristics. For example, let me ask you, how many of you have bought furniture on your own online? Okay, furniture on your own online. Has anyone bought over here? Have you bought furniture, any furniture, let's say sofas, tables, chairs, anything have you bought online? Okay, Sanita is saying yes. All right, anyone else? Okay, so we have 15 people. One person has said yes. Okay, how many of you have bought furnitures or have got furnitures customized with a family known carpenter? Okay, so maybe in your local premises, you know some carpenter who has visited your home and they have modified the furniture for you or maybe created the furniture for you. Anyone like that over here? So I'll include myself. In fact, my parents are into the local carpenter mode itself. So yes, for me. Pooja is also raising hands. Okay, so we have 2 people. Anyone else? All right. So over here itself, now let's imagine for a company like IKEA. I'm sure that most of you would have heard about IKEA. How many of you know IKEA or have you visited IKEA store? It's a Swedish brand, entered India in the furniture market, and they are kind of looking at the Indian market with good amount of promises. Okay, so they see a potential, but they are finding it difficult to penetrate further. Okay. All right, I'm not sure if people have been to IKEA over here. So let's say if you look at from a perspective of IKEA as a company, and suppose, okay, Kirti is saying yes, Sanita as well. All right, so if you have been to IKEA or if you know about IKEA and you're working in their product development area, this is where you would want to capture how are Indians buying furniture generally. Are they buying it online? Is there a local carpenter influencing things? And so on and so forth. Okay, these kind of opinions and research is what we would want to capture during our product development. Your company might have its own ways of creating products and so on and so forth. We would want to see whether it is fitting in with the current context or not, or do we need to change our strategy? The next part comes is the product interaction. Now, IKEA has huge format of their stores. Okay. And they figured out that in India, if they want to penetrate, then probably they need to come up with not just the large format, they need to come up with the small format stores. They need to come up with multiple stores because Indians want to visit and physically see the furniture. Okay, it's kind of a family decision. So data generated via interactions with the product in real time. This is the product interaction data. And the last part is product feedback. After people have already used the product, they have purchased the product, what is the data which is getting captured? So this is the thought process that we can keep: product development, some level of data, product interaction data, and the final feedback. Okay? All these things will become the repository or the product database and will help us to get better. Now, over here, also when we capture this data, there are certain fundamentals that we need to know. So over here, generally you will find there are two ways of capturing data. The one thing is questionnaire or surveys. Okay, most of the time the companies they capture the data using the product data using surveys. Another way of capturing product data is using observational techniques. Okay, so observational would be, let's say a mystery shopper from your company has gone and is observing your retail store, how people are generally shopping. Okay, so that is an observational method. Or let's say I can look at a CCTV camera recording and try to see how people were behaving while they were purchasing things. What were they purchasing? What were they not purchasing? And so on and so forth from the retail store sides. Now, in this module, what we are looking at is the most widely used method of capturing product data, which is a survey or a questionnaire. So all that we need to know over here is the concept of nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio data. Now, what are these data points? So nominal data, first of all, is the data where you do not have a true zero. In fact, the zero is not defined. We can either classify people or categorize people based on these nominal data values. Okay. So for example, if you need to work on grouping people or categorizing people on the basis of marital status, gender, ethnicity, sex, and so on and so forth, this is basically where we use nominal data. So in your questionnaire also, you will have always some level of nominal data, because this will help you to classify the respondents into various segments. Okay, so nominal data, the most easiest part, you will find every questionnaire having some level of nominal questions or nominal database questions. The second type of data that we use is called as ordinal data. Now, ordinal data, quickly to understand, is that data which you can rank. Okay, so all the ranking related data are where you don't have a true zero. You cannot define the zero as such because it is a related ranking. You don't have a continuous intervals. We have just ranks, let's say top 5, top 10, and so on and so forth. So let's say if you go back to our school days when you used to get grades or marks, that is where we can have a ranking based on those marks that becomes ordinal, while the marks itself can be a interval data. Okay, interval is basically the part where you have intervals defined, and maybe we can look at one example, which is what is mentioned over here. Let's say scores in a competitive exam, marks, let's say SAT or CAT marks. You can have temperature, which is a continuous variable defined between a particular interval. And the last part is ratio data. Okay. Now, many a times you would want to understand from the customers what is their priority in terms of decision making. So that is where we bring in the ordinal part. The next thing would be what are customers preferring in terms of, let's say, on a scale or let's say in a particular interval, what kind of weightages can be assigned by customers on those areas. We try to bring in the interval aspects. And the last part is ratio data. Now, ratio data is where you have a zero defined. And this is the data which generally is used across various surveys to capture multiple things which can be used for quantitative assessments. Okay, so you have age, height, weight. Typically, let's say in health surveys, you would be capturing all these things. So this is where you have ratio data, where you have a true zero. You have intervals defined. You can rank order also on the basis of this. And you have categorization also possible based on statistical methods. Okay, so generally for statistical or quantitative assessments, we use ratio data or interval data. For segmentation or let's say understanding segmental preferences, we use ordinal and nominal data. Okay, a typical example would be, for example, you want to measure customer satisfaction. Then customer satisfaction would be measured under the interval framework. If you want customers to give you a rating, if you want to capture, let's say, preferences of consumers when buying something, then this is where we can bring in the nominal or ordinal part. Okay? So over here, we will do this with the help of a few questions for you, and then we'll break up for an exercise, which will give you a better hands-on insight. So look at these questions first of all, and look at the first set of questions, okay, the top ones, and tell me which kind of data this is. Is it nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio? You can mention your responses in the chat, and let's see how many people get it correct. Okay, we already have one response from UVN. We'll wait for others. So look at these three questions. What is your gender? What is your hair color? Where do you live? We are trying to look at three questions. How would you consider this kind of data if it is captured in the questionnaire? Is it nominal, ordinal, ratio, or interval? Okay. All right. So I guess two people have already responded. So here, what Vishwadeep is saying is all the three questions are helping us to categorize, and that is why this is nominal data, okay, which is correct. So this is a nominal data response that the surveyor is trying to get from the customers. Let's look at another one. How do you feel today? This is where you have 5 options given, or how satisfied are you with our service? So we are asking this where you need to figure out whether this is nominal, ordinal, interval, or ratio. Okay. All right. So I guess Vishwadeep has already responded with his remark. We'll wait for others. Take your time and see, is it okay? So Vishwadeep is saying probably this is ordinal, and we can also classify on the basis of this. Yuvin is also saying this is ordinal as well. So correct. So we have this data piece which is ordinal. Okay. Now, can we do classification based on ordinal parameter? Can we segment people based on ordinal data? Yes, of course, right? So if we go back to our last slide, uh, nominal will only help in segmentation. Ordinal can help in segmentation and also ranking. Interval can help in not only ranking and segmentation, it can help in quantitative assessment. A ratio can help us do many things, statistical predictions also. Okay. So generally for predictive analytics, we use ratio data. For descriptive analytics, ordinal and interval. For classification part, exploratory research, nominal data is quite frequently used. Okay, so this is something which we will keep on exploring further as well. But let's break out over here for a quick exercise. This will help you to kind of get hands-on with your own thought process. So we have 14 people over here. We'll do a small exercise, not a very lengthy one. I think it's 11:15. So a 15-minute exercise should be good to go. So what you have to do over here is, there are two promising brands in India, Maruti and Honda. They are catering to the passenger vehicle part. And over here, the problem statement that you guys need to work on is, you need to figure out which brand is, sorry, there's a mistake over here. You need to figure out which brand is more successful in India. And for that, you need to create a survey. Okay. Now, I'm leaving it up to you guys how many questions you want to use. What you need to think about is maybe a very brief questionnaire which can help us to understand very clearly which brand is more successful. If you float this survey, you should be able to get the data. Okay. So think about what combination will you use by looking at nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio data, and create a questionnaire. Don't go beyond 10 questions. Maybe less than 10 should be good to go. But see what mix you would want to keep in your questionnaire. So spend time. What I'll do is I'll create 2 groups, and let's see how effective survey we are able to build. While also think about each question, whether you're using a nominal one, ordinal one, interval, or ratio. Okay. So I hope the exercise is clear. So what I'll do is I'll just create 2 groups, and then we'll look at the questionnaire created by both the groups. I think we have 14 people, so I'm making 2 groups, 7 each. Okay. We'll keep a timeline of, I think 15 minutes should be good to go, and then 5 minutes for a quick run through from your findings, and then we'll take it forward. Okay. I'll just create the breakout room, and then you guys can start. Okay. You will be automatically assigned to the group like we just did in our last session. So just before we break out in the breakout rooms, are we all clear with the exercise? Are we all good to go? Any questions or queries? Okay, I hope we are good to go. All right, so then let me create it. All right, guys. I think everyone is back now. Okay, great. So I hope you had a good round of discussion or creation of the questionnaire. Uh, we had two rooms or two groups. So probably over to you guys. Any particular order you want to go? Anyone? Room one, would you like to start about your findings? What are the questions that you thought of can be asked over here as a part of this questionnaire?
Yeah, Professor, we should decide. Good morning.
Yeah, Vishnu.
Yeah. So means in a survey we can ask like which car you are using, right? So under this option we can create like SUV, MUV, sedan, hatchback, and others options, right?
Okay. So that is
And
nominal part.
yeah, this is like a nominal part. Then we can move to the next question, like most preferred brand, like it's Maruti, Hyundai, or Honda, or any other cars. So again, it's like a nominal. Then we can
Okay.
ask the budget range, like it's in the range of 5 to 10 lakhs, or maybe 10 to 15 and above. So this like a range, right? So yeah, so this will be like the range. And then we can ask again like the fuel type. So it could be petrol, diesel, CNG, or EV. Again, the nominal. What features drive your decision? What features drive your decision? So it could be like the power or the comfort. So this will come again like the nominal part.
Yeah.
Then the mileage part. So mileage will be like maybe from 10 means 10 kilometer, 15 kilometer, maybe 20 kilometer, or more than 20 kilometer mileage will be there. So this will like it could be under the range as well, and this nominal part as well. And in safety we can ask like from 0 to 5 ratings are there. So it's ordinal and categorical values. And transmission mode will be like manual or automatic.
Okay.
These are
Fair
the
enough.
few questions we can ask to the customer.
Okay, and how would you conclude that your which brand is successful then? I think
So,
there are quite a few.
right, let me add to Vishwadip's point here. So basically, when we capture all this information, we also try to capture, the geographic, like which region is purchasing what kind of an information. We can then calculate like various kind of ratios to identify, like, based on customer preferences and how they are kind of rating each of these categories, like in terms of what are their preferences, which market segment would prefer which kind of brand, and we can kind of determine like say we can kind of have results like, say, the user group who are looking for value products at a lesser range, or the mid income segment may go for something, whereas like, say, the higher income group may get something. So those kind of ratios we can compute after collecting this data and seeing the validation, like whether it's a valid data or not.
Okay, fair enough. So broadly, what we are doing over here is, so what the group has concluded is, let's classify, let's ask questions to segment, let's say, the target audience, then define certain parameters on the basis of which we can evaluate the success of a particular brand, and then probably we do the analysis based on the data points collected. All right. So this is one way. Let's also look at. I mean, anyone else wants to add anything from what Vishwadeep had mentioned?
In addition,
yeah.
In addition to this, we can check the revenue and the sales
Okay,
as
very
well.
nice. Okay, so there is a financial parameter also which has been brought in over here. So there are three broad areas where the work will go on in, let's say, this group one's questionnaire or survey. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to, let's see the thought process from group two then. Let's see if they have a similar thought process or they had a different approach. Okay. Group two, over to you guys. Who's going ahead?
So actually, this was group two only.
Okay, this was group two. Then group one. Okay, is it like both had put forward their thought process?
Okay, so from group one, what we had decided is we would ask whether they own a car or not, and if yes, what brand they own, and if no, what brand they own, and their age, their income, their gender, and and then asking them which one they would prefer based on their budget, based on their customer satisfaction levels, and based on like a resale value. And Kumar Baba, or anyone wants to add to my point? Kirti?
Yeah, see, we'd like to start with the demographics. Okay, first we'll going to ask the question, what is your age? Okay. Then second question would be gender, then income level. Then fourth question, we are coming, whether do you own a car? If yes, what is the brand? We'll give the option, Honda, Maruti, or other. So if we say, then based on that, again, we'll give what is the reason for selection. Like we'll give different parameters, price, type of engine, safety level, and the service. So based on this, we can arrive at the, which is the better.
Great. All right. Thanks, UBN. Thanks, Kirtika, and everyone else from Group 1 as well as Group 2. So a question, like broadly, what Group 1 has also done is we are kind of looking at the demographics. So we are asking qualifying questions. And then once the qualifying questions are done, the nominal part is done, we take the questionnaire towards evaluation mode. Okay? That is the broad flow which happened in both the cases. Now, I have a question for both the groups. So see, what do you think on an individual basis in this case? Do you think the way we are evaluating success of a brand might be different from how customers are evaluating the success of a brand? So let's say, instead of the approaches that you guys have followed, suppose we go and ask customers, which brand's car do you own? Okay, that is the first question, and we give them options, Maruti, Honda, Hyundai, and so on and so forth. And the second question, we directly ask, which one do you think is the most successful four-wheeler or passenger car brand in India? Okay, and we leave it as is. Okay, so over here, just two questions. Do you think in this case the conclusion would be different as compared to the first two approaches that we have? So in the first two approaches, we were defining how will we evaluate the success. The second one, we are leaving to the customer to evaluate. Do you think there can be differences in the results? And
I think there can be differences in the results because, we are basing it based on the financial values also, in terms of we are defining the success based on that, versus the customer can be based on, say, the customer experience or the total experience that they are getting from the product. So the results can be very different.
Okay, great. So I think this is the point which I wanted to drive. Even when we are designing customer surveys or, very simple surveys like this, there are certain problems that all of us would face. Okay, first is, who's going to define what is the meaning of successful? Is it defined by our company? Is it defined by third party? Is it defined by the customers or the end users? And this is a tricky thing. Okay? These kind of scenarios, they happen in any kind of product data when we capture. Okay? So we need to be aware of, let's say, as a marketing analytics person, we need to know who's doing the evaluation, who's setting up the criteria for evaluation, and then who are the respondents. That is one thing that you guys also tried to do. You were first asking questions to qualify. Are those people who are answering questions, are they actually owning a car or not, for example? That is a good thought process that we had. And then we started defining parameters, which according to us, we feel that, on safety, on, let's say, mileage, and so on and so forth, maybe these are the things which people will evaluate for considering which brand is more successful. Okay. So in a conclusion from this exercise, who's evaluating and who's the target audience is an important part, and designing questionnaire is a tricky thing. Okay, there can be various thought processes which can be built in. The marketing analytics that we bring in also would vary with respect to how the survey was conducted, who has conducted it, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, coming back to the product analytics part, capturing the product data is one thing. The second thing is also to put it in the right context. So let's say in our module per se, we are looking at product and pricing analytics from two decisions point of view, which is are people getting interested in our products, and are people making a purchase? Okay, because after that, after the purchase is done, we might look at customer behavior analytics to look at what is my CLV, what is my CAC, what is the customer satisfaction, NPS, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's look at, first of all, what happens from the consumer behavior perspective. So typically, for purchase decision and for other consumer behavior decisions, what we do is, as a marketer, we build a framework, and the framework is very simple, which is we consider that customers or consumers behave in a particular way or take decisions in a particular way when they are influenced, or because they are influenced by 4 major factors. Okay? These are economic factors, personal factors, psychological factors, and cultural and social factors. Okay, so when we are looking at study like the one we were doing for evaluating Maruti and Honda, our results might get influenced because the respondents were exposed to a particular economic factor. For example, let's say if we conduct the survey during a recession, then the results would be different as compared to, let's say, when the economy is booming. So we need to account for these economic factors. Next is the personal factors, which you guys also tried to capture when you were saying the age of the candidate is what I'll kind of look at. I look at the occupation, income level, and so on and so forth. So this, I think, already came in our discussion. Psychological factors would be related to the lifestyles. Okay, so let's say people in metro locations will have a different lifestyle as compared to tier 1 cities. Tier 2 cities, urban locations or will be very different from rural locations in India. Similarly, north is different from the west or south in east. So those kind of factors might be considered when we are taking or conducting these surveys or capturing the data related to customer behavior. And apart from this, also the culture and social factors are present. Okay, so let's say people from a particular social class, let's say middle class, their responses would be different, rich would be having a different set of responses, and so on and so forth. So these are the things that probably we need to think about when we are taking any survey data or a product data and putting it in the context. Okay? In terms of generally from the Indian market, what has been found is, if we ask people about what influences your purchase decision on a generic basis, though this might not be fitting in with every product category or industry, but typically people do look at product quality. Okay? So product quality is one of the major factors which you guys were also trying to evaluate in your questionnaire. Another part is something free, okay, whether it is free delivery or promotions. These are the things which really help or influence. Apart from this, easy return policies, consumer reviews, what other people are saying or mentioning about things. These are certain top factors. You can look at the top 10 over here. In fact, new product launches, checkout, or let's say ease of purchase. These are certain factors which probably all of us also would consider when you're buying something. Okay. From the framework point of view, we use, let's say, the cultural, social, psychographic, demographic, and situational factors. We mix it with the marketing mix decision. Okay. So over here, what you see is personal, social, psychological, and situational factors. These are 4 factors which you do not control as a businessman. What you control as a businessman is the marketing mix decisions. So based on the external situation, personal, social, psychological, and situational factors, you would want to bring in your product decision, pricing decision, promotional decision, and place of distribution. These decision is what you bring in. Okay. So we will study, let's say, the external factors, look at the internal data, and take decisions accordingly to make our products and brands successful. Okay? Now, how do we capture this product data then? So there are various methods. We discussed just now about the survey part, but there can be various other aspects also. So for example, in FMCG industry, in retail B2C markets, generally focus group discussions of typically 8 to 12 people is what we get them in a room where we can observe them. There will be a moderator from the company side. And typically these focus group discussions are considered to be very good for capturing data which will help us to take decisions for product development. Okay, so let's say we launched a product. Now we want to launch a new product with enhanced features. So here we can do a product or a focus group discussions for the product features that we are thinking or the concept that we are thinking, and try to capture the data from these discussions. Okay, who will be a part of focus groups? Okay, very nice. So over here, there are two ways, UVN. So one way is we take a random selection of the target audience. So let's say we create panels. Let's say a panel for North India in, let's say, Delhi. We go for same exercise in, let's say, Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata. Suppose we have selected 4 different geographies. In these 4 different geographies, we look at those people who qualify some minimum criteria that the company has set up. Okay, so let's say, are you aware about smartphones as a category? How long you have been using smartphones? What kind of brands or what kind of price ranges you buy smartphones with? Okay, so these are some filtering questions that we ask the target audience. Based on that, we do our pre-filtering and classify that, okay, these 10 to 12 people will be a part of one group. Similarly, we can have multiple groups. So in each location, generally 2 to 3 focus groups is what we will keep. Conduct the focus group discussions in the presence of a moderator. Now, moderator is generally a third-party person from the agency, or it can be from the company itself. Okay, so in all, there will be 8 to 12 people who have been pre-filtered to be a part of the focus group discussion. One person who will be acting as the moderator. So generally, these focus group discussions happen in a room which has an access for the business people. They can listen to the, let's say, the focus group discussion. They can view things. Okay, so there will be a camera set up there. Maybe a glass wall will be there. Generally, in our case, we have these glass walls where we can observe how the discussion is going on. But people who are participating in the focus group discussion, they will not be able to see or know whether there is someone who is listening to or observing the situation, okay, except the moderator. Okay, so that is how typically a focus group discussion is carried out. Sometimes we also do a random selection of for the focus group. That depends on the objective. Okay, typically we do select people who will be a part of the focus group. All right, Vivian. The same exercise is also kind of done for product feedback. Okay, so after you have launched the product, people have used it. This is where you would want to get people who are your customers, existing customers, and they have used that particular product to give a feedback. This is also where FGD or focus group discussion might happen. Surveys are good for most of the let's say questions which is about product development. Even for product interactions also, you will find questionnaires existing in the digital world. Product feedback is also something which is captured through surveys. There is also something called as usability testing. So you give samples. You will generally go to Big Bazaar and you will find that, some people are standing with some product samples and they're asking you to taste them, and so on and so forth. So generally for FMCG products, you will find usability testing. You also have tools like Google Analytics, where today we will see a demo over here for capturing product interaction decisions. Okay, so let's say if people are coming to your website, what are they doing on your website? Which pages are they visiting? Are they downloading something from your website, registering on your website, purchasing something? These are called as product interaction decisions. Generally, in the digital marketing tools, you will be able to get a lot of data on product interactions. So for that, we don't need to do a survey. A session replay is basically, let's say there was a CCTV camera installed, which was capturing how people are going through in a store buying things. We can go through a replay of the session. Similarly, in digital world, we can look at how people came to the website or maybe a mobile app, went to which page, completed which purchase, what happened after the purchase, and so on and so forth. So we can have a session replay to understand how people transact. And then there is something called as social listening. These days, you will find there is a lot of activity on social media. For example, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We can capture feedback data quite well from social listening. So there are various tools. For example, the one that I'll show it to you today is Hootsuite. Similarly, you have a lot of other tools like Sprout Social, Sprinkler, even the specific social media platforms give you data to understand what is going on your social media platforms. typically these kind of things will help us to get the insight into product data. Now, after the product data has been captured, then the idea would be to analyze them. So for example, over here, we are capturing the product data with the help of a survey, a very short survey over here, where the question is, would you recommend our products to your friends or colleagues, yes or no? Okay. Now, do you think this is capturing NPS? Let's say the first form, do you think it is capturing NPS? Will you be able to capture Net Promoter Score through this? Okay, you mean saying yes. How about others? So we are asking just one question, which is, would you recommend our product to friends and colleagues? Yes or no? Would you be able to capture Net Promoter Score through this? Yumin is saying yes. How about others? Okay, so typically over here also, yeah, NPS is a rating from 0 to 10. So technically 0 to 10 is what we need to capture. And the question should be, how likely are you to recommend our product and services to your friends and colleagues? Okay, this is a simplistic version, which is where probably we cannot truly capture NPS, but we can still have a rough idea. Okay, so let's say I can calculate what percentage of people out of 100 went for yes, what percentage went for no. Okay, and I can have a not the technical NPS, maybe some step in that direction, but it is good to capture with some simple formats as well. On the right hand side, we are looking at customer satisfaction capture. Okay, so how satisfied are you with the product name, product packaging, so on and so forth. You will typically find these kind of small surveys, just one question surveys. We call them one shot research. On a lot of digital marketing tools or digital marketing surveys are generally one shot surveys, okay, and very effective. Now, we will look at another part, which is called as social listening. So I was talking about looking at social media for capturing customer feedback and so on and so forth. So this is where there are tools, which is like Hootsuite is one of the tools, which I'll show you live. On the right hand side over here, the things that you're seeing is from another tool called Sprinkler. Typical kind of a frame, let's say dashboard, which you can have. Let's say here for Coffee Cabin brand, what is generally the share of voice? Okay, so how many people are generally talking about Coffee Cabin on social media with respect to Java House, Impresso, Espresso, their competitors, probably, just for your knowledge perspective. How many total engagements are happening? How many engagements are happening per message? Now, engagement means people are liking, commenting, sharing things. Impression means how many total number of views are happening for your content. And what is the overall sentiment? Are people positive? Now, sentiments basically is based on the data which, let's say, our algorithm is seeing. We rate whether people are mostly positive or negative with respect to our brand. Okay? These are the things that we capture in tools. Let me show you one over here, which is Hootsuite. Now, just wanted to check with you. Have you guys gone through Hootsuite in your previous modules? Because then accordingly, I'll take you through it. Can you let me know? Has this been covered in any of your modules, or have you used this in your prior marketing experience? So some people, if you have worked in, okay, you've been saying no. All right. So then I'm assuming that most of you would not have gone through it. So let me tell you what happens in Hootsuite first. Let me take you through this live tool itself. So over here, this is Hootsuite.com. Okay, I have just logged out from here. I'll just log in. Now, this is a tool which is used for social media management and social media listening. Okay. Now, social media management is, let's say, when you are working on social media marketing, typically a brand will be present on multiple social media platforms, okay, like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We'll have a presence everywhere. And your job role would be that you want to manage the content on these social media platforms. You would want to monitor whether things are going good or things are going bad. And you want social media analytics for that. Okay, so this is where we bring in a tool like Hootsuite. So over here, let me show you how it looks like. I'm just signing in with my login credentials. Okay. Now, through this tool, what we do is Suppose all of you get together and you started a company of your own, and suppose you're working in the social media marketing team. What you guys are doing is, let's say you're working on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram together, and you want to post stuff on these social media pages that you have created from one place. Okay, so one format is I log into Facebook, then I go to LinkedIn, then I go to Instagram and post content on these platforms, and then monitor what is happening individually on those platforms. Now, for a large company, this will be a difficult thing. So what we do is we create our profiles on tools like Hootsuite. Another one is Sprout Social. I'll just mention in the chat. You guys can later on browse it on YouTube. So Sprout Social and then Sprinkler. Okay, these are the globally the largest social media management and social media listening tools. So if you learn Hootsuite, then you already know who Sprout Social and Sprinkler. They are very similar. Generally in India, people are using Hootsuite. In Europe, they use Sprout Social and Sprinkler both. In US, you will find mostly they are using Sprinkler and Hootsuite. Okay, but anyways, coming back, so here you will see that for FinTalks, we have a Facebook account, we have a LinkedIn account which got disconnected, and we have an Instagram account. What I want to do is I want to look at what is happening on these 3 accounts from one platform. So over here, we have a feature called Streams. I'll just click on the Stream feature, and let's look at how we can monitor everything from one place. Okay, so here what you're seeing is I have my Instagram and I have my Facebook account. I'm looking at what is happening on these accounts from one place. Okay, so the post, roughly we are posting the same thing on both the platforms. I can just scroll down over here and I can see what is going on, how many likes are happening, comments, shares, and so on and so forth. I can do it on Instagram over here. I can check it out for Facebook. Now, recently, the LinkedIn account we disconnected, but otherwise we can monitor LinkedIn, and you can monitor as many as you want. Okay, up till 10 to 12 social media platforms you can easily monitor on Hootsuite. Okay, now this is one part. The second part is you want to manage your content. Okay, so let's say, suppose I want to post something. Okay, so let's say I create a post. Let's see the quick creation. One way was I will log into Facebook and then create a post over there and paste it. But what we do over here as a marketer is I'll select my accounts over here. Okay. Let's say I've selected all 3, Instagram, LinkedIn, and okay, I'll disconnect LinkedIn because this is disconnected. So let's say I'll choose just to show you the process, I'll just choose the accounts where I want to post. Okay. Once I've selected that, so let's go to the next step, which is create the content. Okay, so let's say I'm just creating a random content. Let's see if I can upload a picture. It will just take some time. My laptop is running a little bit slow. Okay, so let me upload a picture over here. Let's see if I have something for you guys. Let's take it from here. Okay, just wait a second. Let it get refreshed. Okay, so I think let me see if I can have some images. Let me see if I can hunt for an image. I'm not okay. I think here we have. Okay. So I'm just using this random image just to show you what happens. And let's say I'll just type a sentence, participate in this workshop. On the right hand side, you will see that my post is building up. Okay, so I have this image uploaded and I can type out the content. I can put hashtags and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is a very simple process. And after this, I'll just, if I post now, right now, this post will go on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Okay, or what I can do else is I can schedule for later. Okay, so I can click on schedule for later. I can post it tomorrow, let's say, at a specific time. Okay, so these kind of features these tools have built up, which is very good for marketers. And now for a marketing analytics person, after we have done the post, you would want to monitor what happened, how many people liked it, commented on it, and shared it to others, and so on and so forth. So this is where we bring into the analytics part. Let me show you over here how this analytics works for Hootsuite Analytics. I'll play this video. Let me just turn off my video and I'll make it full screen. Okay. Just let me know if you guys are able to hear the sound of this video. I'll try to play it over here. Okay. Maybe one person can just confirm. You can just say yes if you're able to.
Measuring social media performance across multiple networks can be time-consuming and makes managing the results difficult. Hootsuite Analytics solves this problem. It's an easy-to-use tool for measuring the success of your social media efforts. Access Hootsuite Analytics in the sidebar. Here, you'll see two main areas. Post performance shows your published content with an overview of how it was received by your audience. Here, you can set the date range and edit the columns to show metrics that are most relevant to you, like comments or video views. Let's now look at the reports area. You can create customizable and shareable reports geared precisely to the reporting needs of your organization. There's overview reports of individual networks and mixed overview reports with aggregated metrics across multiple social networks. The reports area also has pre-made templates for monitoring the performance of individual networks. Hootsuite users with more advanced reporting needs should take advantage of custom reports, which can be built out using only the metrics that are important to you.
All right, so this gives you a quick flavor, I would say, in terms of what you can expect from tools which are there from the social listening perspective. So for each social media platform, you can broadly have an idea of what is going on. How is my brand growing? Are there more engagements happening? Are people liking the content? And so on and so forth. So what is the broad sentiment? Along with this, there are other tools. So for example, the next one that we will discuss is Google Analytics. Now for that, what we'll do is I think over here, we'll take a break. We'll catch back in 10 minutes. So after that, let me show you Google Analytics. Instead of for just social media, how can we use our website for capturing a lot of data, which can be about our customers, about their feedbacks, about the product and their journeys. Okay. So shall we take a break over here and catch back in 10 minutes? By the time I'll be able to set up Google Analytics as well. So I'll be able to show you live. Okay, so let's catch back in 10 minutes then, it is 12:03. So roughly, let's catch back around 12:10 and then take it forward from here. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions. We'll take it now. All right, everyone. Are we back? Shall we start? Okay, great. All right, so let's start off with the next way of capturing data. So of course, we looked at the surveys, we looked at, let's say, social media listening. Let's also look at the web analytics. Probably if you look at Google Analytics itself, similar method exists for capturing mobile app analytics. Okay, so the concepts remain the same. In fact, Google Analytics is something which is widely used, and there are multiple such tools which will help us to understand what is happening on our digital properties. We can take decisions based on them. In order to do this, now here is a snapshot how Google Analytics generally looks like, but better would be to see it live. So over here, let me take you through a live demo. First, let me ask you, how many of you have worked on Google Analytics? Have you monitored a website on your own, let's say for measuring how much traffic is coming and so on and so forth? Accordingly, let me spend time on the Google Analytics part. Okay. Anyone? Yes or no? Okay. So then I'll assume that all of us are probably going through it for the first time. Okay, let's do it together then. Now, can you guys let me know if you are able to see this dashboard? So over here, I have logged into a live account for Google Analytics. This is for my website that we had created, fintalks.com. Are you guys able to see these numbers? 43, 45, 71% bounce rate, 31 seconds of a session duration. I'll talk shortly about each of them. Okay. This will help us to get a hang of what exactly is there from a product analytics perspective, or particularly specifically the website analytics part. Okay. So I hope you guys are able to see it. If you're able to see it, then look at the right-hand side. This is where we will start quickly understanding what is going on. So we have active users in the last 5 minutes, which is set to 0 at this point of time. Okay. So basically in the last 5 minutes, nobody has been there on this website, which is where you see on top, it is mentioned, we are looking at all website data for a website called as FinTalks, or the property that we have created in this Google Analytics. The name is FinTalks. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to do is visit this website, www.fintalks.com. Okay. And let's see how Google Analytics is capturing the traffic. Okay. How quickly the numbers get updated. Over here, is this 0 changing to 1, 2, 3 as you guys are visiting the website? Okay. Let's see if that happens. So so we have one person who has reached the website, and this person is on the home page. Okay. So / means home page. Let's wait for others. So others, I would request you to go to this website and let's see. So we have one user already active. We'll just wait for others. Okay, now we have 4 people. There are 3 people which Google is telling me that they are on the home page. One person has clicked on the stock market workshop page. Okay, so all right, so we have, okay, UVN visited the home page. All right, so we have one more person who has gone to category, the stock market category of the blog section or the website section. And now we have one person going to the about us. All right, so now you can see that, in real time, we have the data available of people who are visiting my website sections and what they're doing on the website. Okay, now do you think this will help you for making some business decisions? Can you think of any scenario in real life based on which we can take decisions over here? So suppose you're working for a company like Amazon or Flipkart, Myntra. Do you think this is important data? Yes, of course, right? So for example, let's say you are working as a category manager, let's say for smartphones category. And for smartphone categories, you see that this is the amount of traffic which is coming to my particular product page. if you create another version of the product page where you are offering a discount, you would want to see whether the discount is actually getting me more purchases or not. Okay. So real-time decisions is something which is where marketing analytics does empower the decision making. Okay? Now, this is, let's say, one set of decisions. Similarly, suppose, let's say you are working for a company like Make My Trip. Now, in Make My Trip, you would want to know how many people are actually looking for specific routes for booking their tickets. You would want to also know how many people are actually completing the purchase, how many people are just adding things to cart, and so on and so forth. So there are various things like this which will help us to take real life decisions and probably in real time itself. Okay. Now, apart from this, let's look at these matrices on the left hand side. So over here, you're looking at the data for last 7 days. Okay, so instead of last 7 days, what I'll do is, let's say, let me look at last 90 days. So last 3 months, there are 422 users, or basically people who have come to this website. 467 sessions have happened. So one person, same unique user, can come multiple times also. So there are some people over here who have come to this website twice. That is why sessions is more than the number of users. Now, then we have something called as bounce rate. Now, bounce rate is how many people are dropping off from the page where they have landed. Okay, so let's say some of you guys went to the home page, and from home page itself, you closed the website. Okay, you didn't go to any other page on the website. Then it is called as bounce. Now, bounce rate should be lower the better. And a typical bounce rate, let's say for google.com, is 27%. Okay. Generally, if a website is having below 50% or close to 50% bounce rate, it is considered a good performance. Over here for my website, currently, the performance is not so great. Okay. So when we started off, the bounce rate used to be around 90%. So generally, whenever you start a website, you will find that the bounce rate would be 90-95%. We need to bring it down. Okay. That means our website is getting better. The content is good. The design is good, and so on and so forth. The last piece is session duration. So typically, if people are there on my website, for example, currently 6 people are there, how much time they're spending in one session. Okay, the more the better. So these kind of decisions, these kind of analytics can help us with various decisions. Okay, if session duration is increasing, that means the website is getting better, the content is getting better. If bounce rate is decreasing, then the landing page performance is good. Maybe the home page is very well designed. If the sessions are increasing, then it means people are coming back again and again. If users are increasing, then we have higher traffic. Okay, so then probably what we are doing is good. Now let's say this is, let's say, some 4 categories of data. We can have a deep dive also. Okay, so on the left hand side, you will see that there are various reports. Okay, so real time, audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. There are 5 reports which are standard reports in Google Analytics. Real time is what you are seeing on the right hand side already. There are 7 people now. If I click on real time, let me show you how it looks like. I'll show you the overview. So as of now, let's learn about these 7 people who are there on the website. And these are you guys. So you already know whether the data is correct or not. So let's look at this overview. There are 7 people, and desktop 86%. So majority of you guys have joined from the desktop. There is 1 person or maybe 2 people from mobile as well. People are there on these specific pages. Let's see where are the people coming from. Okay, so we have people from North. Okay, there is Delhi, 1 active user. Who's there from Delhi? Anyone from Delhi over here? And apart from Delhi, there is 1 person from Lucknow. Anyone has joined from Lucknow or Delhi? Then probably we have 1 person from Mumbai, 2 people from Bangalore. Okay, Ashish is there from Lucknow. All right, so we have Ashish, we have spotted. Okay, Vaishali, Delhi. So we have spotted Delhi as well. 2 people from Bangalore and 1 person from Chennai. Okay, so UVN is joining from Bangalore. There is 1 more person from Bangalore. Okay, the person who's there from Mumbai has switched off from the website. Okay, so over here now, Bangalore is also gone. Chennai is gone as well. Okay, Swaminath is also there from Bangalore. Okay, great. So I think now you can see that this is quite good data, right? So over here, real time, we can make quite a good amount of decisions. For example, you would have seen that insurance companies, as soon as you visit their websites, they call you. you will get a telecalling, telecaller following you. This is happening through tools like Google Analytics. Okay. Now let's look at the non-real-time data. So if I take you to the audience report, so over here, you would get to understand what kind of people are generally there on your website over a period of time. Okay, so let's say I'll show you the data for few months. Okay, so let's see. Let's say we will see it from January 2022 up till now. So let's see what is happening on this website. Okay. Now we are seeing these daily fluctuations. Instead of daily, I'll show you monthly. That will be easier. Okay? Now let's look at the monthly data. So typically what we can see over here is my website traffic has gone down in the last 1.5 years because we have not done much activity. So traffic is also falling. Initially, we used to have around 800 people visiting the website in a month. Now it has come down. There are like 100 people or so. Okay. Let's see over this period, how many unique users have come. There are like 4,700 users, out of which 86% are new visitors. Okay. So returning visitors are only 13%. That means people are only coming once to the website. They're not coming back again and again. If you see this for a company like Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, Ola, Uber, there probably things are happening multiple times. Okay? So that is what we want to create. Okay? So you have various matrices. It can be users, sessions, page views, how many pages people are visiting, and session duration. The interesting part is the demographic part. Let's look at the country from which people are visiting the website. So we have majority traffic from India, and then we have quite a few customers in Middle East. So they are also visiting the website, and US and UAE both. Then you have, we do have customers from US, by the way, and then others. Okay, so this is good data. Let's say if I want to spend my marketing budget, then I would look at first top 3 locations, top 5 locations. Let's look at the city. So Mumbai is where we are getting the maximum traffic, then Bangalore, and so on and so forth. Okay. So this is some good data to understand about the, let's say, audience. Let's also look at another interesting part, the demographic. It will give you a good insight. Let's look at the age and gender. Okay. Okay, Ashish is saying, can we expect fee waiver? Of course, you are. The first session anyways remains free of cost, so you are more than welcome. Okay, let's look at this part. Demographic. So let's say we are understanding that mostly people who are young, they are visiting the website. Okay. Interesting thing is females are also there. Okay. So we have a good female audience. In fact, that was the focus. Can we reach out to females? Can we have them involved in the financial investment decisions? Okay. That is something which we started off with. And then we have kept, I mean, this is 33%. Probably we'll try to take it to 40%. That was the target. But anyways, this is the audience. Let's look at the acquisition. Where are people coming from? Okay, so second question that you would want to answer as a product person or the marketing analytics person is, where are people coming on my website from? Okay, so we have a lot of direct traffic. Direct traffic is when people remember the URL of your website. Okay, now we have 51% of the traffic which is direct. Okay, now can you tell me whether this is good or bad? Do you think if direct traffic is more, is it good for the company or is it bad for the company? Good, right? So over here, it gives you an idea of whether people are able to remember you. So whoever is visiting, are they easily able to remember about your URL? Okay. So this hints a little bit on the brand awareness side. That's why generally when we create companies or a startup, you'd want to create a 3-letter word, Ola, Oyo. This is what people remember quite quickly. It helps them. It helps to build direct traffic faster. Okay. Then we have organic traffic. Organic traffic is traffic which is coming free of cost from search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, and so on and so forth. So this is also good. We have most of the traffic coming free of cost. From social also, we don't do advertisements. So social media would be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We are having people from there. Then there is other traffic, which is from other sources not classified over here. Let's say emails, SMS, WhatsApp. We have few traffic, few amount of people coming from referral. So maybe other websites which are not social media website. Okay. So just to give you an idea, let's say in social media, we can get to understand how many people from which particular social media platform are coming to our website. Okay. So let's look at over here. I think mostly will be from LinkedIn. But anyways, let's see. Yeah. So we have LinkedIn, majority of the people, then Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So you have quite a good amount of granular data available in the Google Analytics reports. The last thing that we will see is the behavior data. So let's look at the last question, which is what are people doing on my website? Okay, so we know who's coming, we know where are they coming from, but we want to know what are they doing on my website. So which pages are being visited? Okay, so let's see this. Generally, people are coming to the home page. Let me show you to you by page title. I think it will be easier. Okay, no, I think let's go back to the page itself. So over here, slash means the home page. So majority people are coming to the home page. In fact, 34% of the traffic is coming to the home page itself. Then people are generally exploring the stock market workshop page. So these are the two popular pages. Then there was a blog which is top 5 Indian industries by operating margin. This got popular. So these are 3 pages where generally people are landing. People are also checking out about us. So who's kind of owning FinTalks, what is the team about, and so on and so forth. Okay. Typically, out of like I can view the full report also. There are like 200 plus pages. I can try to remove those pages where there is no traffic. Okay, those pages might affect the ranking of the website. Okay, so if you have unused pages, we better delete them. Okay, you can also look at behavior flow. Okay? Let me show you the last part of Google Analytics over here, just for a quick perspective. You get a report like this, which is where you get to see which was the landing page or starting pages. So most of the traffic is coming to home page. And from there is a lot of drop off happening. Okay, so a lot of people, 29% people are dropping off from the home page itself. That means we need to fix the home page. After the home page, they go to About Us. After About Us, they come to Stock Market Workshop or back to the home page, and so on and so forth. So typically, people are having 3 interactions on my website. If you go to a company like Myntra on their mobile app, you will find that there are a huge number of interactions, a very long journey. That is what you want. Okay, you don't want people to drop off soon from your website. Okay, that comes in the area of UI UX design, content design. But as a marketing analytics person, you are basically empowering those decisions. Okay, so here also, let's say people also the second important page is FinTalk Stock Market Workshop page. But lot of drop-offs from there. So we have to prevent this. We have to get back people to some other pages where they can transact. Okay, so we need to work on the website redesign. All right. The last report, which I'll not be able to show it to you over here, is called as conversion report. So because this is not an e-commerce website and we have not set up conversions, but in conversion reports, what you can measure is how many people have registered on your website. Out of the people who have registered, how many people ended up purchasing? How many people ended up adding things to cart? So those kind of things are captured in the conversion report. And broadly from the Google Analytics perspective, if you see, web analytics is giving you a lot of power to capture good amount of insights for product data. Is Google Analytics free or paid? So yes, it is free, of course. So the one that, the things that I've shown you over here, all these things are available free of cost. Okay, even you will find that the Fortune 500 companies, the top MNCs, they all have Google Analytics account. Okay, and this is available free of cost. So almost everyone leverages this. There is a paid tool also from Google Analytics that is called as Google Analytics 360. Okay, so the paid version is Google Analytics 360. This is expensive one, and over there, instead of looking at the data on a group level or let's say overall level, you will be able to identify individual customers. Okay, so that specific aspects, individual customer analytics, these are the things which are available on Google Analytics 360, but generally you would not need them. You will be good to go with Google Analytics itself. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Let's go back to the presentation now, and let's go to the next part. Okay, so what we've seen so far is, let's say, the data part. Let's also look at the metrics, just like we did it for consumer behavior analytics. So what metrics then for product part? Okay, so there is a in your asynchronous content, there is a framework which has been mentioned. This is called as HEART framework. Now this is established by Google, and they say that if you look at happiness, engagement, adoption, retention, and task success, you can be very good on your product analytics. Okay. So for each of the section, we can define a goal. So let's say for happiness, we want to achieve a goal that most of my users are satisfied. Okay. For that, we can have signals which will help us to understand whether actually customers are happy or not. So these signals can come from efforts that we make, for example, capturing or creating forms, creating review mechanisms, surveys. And for this, metrics can be NPS or CSAT, which we also had discussed in our consumer behavior part. Okay. So same metrics will help us over here to give product insights as well. The engagement part is where we need to look at, let's say we just looked at Google Analytics. So time spent on the platform generally is the session duration, bounce rate, page views. These kind of things are captured to show us the engagement. Okay. Another very simple thing would be how many people, let's say on social media, are liking our content. That is also engagement. Adoption is how many conversions are happening. Okay. Sign-ups are happening. So if you look at Netflix monitors how many people are signing up, how many people are renewing their subscriptions, how many people have actually subscribed. Okay? Retention is how many people every month to month they are staying back. Let's say in case of OTT platforms, or let's say in the non-OTT part, what is the churn rate? What is the renewal rate? These kind of matrices help us to measure retention. And the last part is task success, which is making users accomplish certain tasks or action that you want them to perform. So, for example, it can be customers are visiting buying your products, they are visiting your websites and app, but you want them to refer others. You want their friends and their relatives to buy your products and services. So that is a specific task which we want customers to do. These are the 5 sections broadly in which we can divide the product analytics. Conversion rate specifically is a very critical thing over here. Now, conversion rate is basically we define a period of time. We look at how many conversions happen in that time period out of the total number of visits that happened. Okay, so let's say on a website, how many people purchase things vis-a-vis how many people visited during that period on the website. Okay? That is a conversion rate. This conversion rate is basically telling us about the funnel. Okay, this funnel is, let's say on my website, maybe a lot of people are coming, maybe they're aware about our website, product, services, but not everyone is taking an action to buy things. Okay, so this is where the IDA model comes into picture. The conversion rate is also something which is defined by the marketer. Okay, so as a marketing analytics person, you can define that, conversion one would be how many people visited the website, out of which how many people registered. Okay, so this registration can be first level of conversion. After registration, how many people added things to cart, second conversion that we can monitor. The third conversion would be how many people completed the purchase. Okay, so this is up to the marketer or the marketing analytics person to define the conversions. This is a quick example. Let's say for mobile app marketing, this is how generally we measure. We start with impressions, how many people are viewing the app on the App Store, or maybe visiting the app, just exploring things. How many people are clicking on, let's say, the subscribe button or download button. Let's say, apart from this, let's say if people have explored the app, they have looked at it, they have engaged, they have read about it, how many people are ending up downloading or installing things, and then probably if they're going for a specific in-app event. Okay, in-app event would be inside the app, they did a purchase, they subscribe to a service, and so on and so forth. This can be a typical funnel, and each stage can be defined as a conversion. Okay, so over here we have given the name as click-through rate, click to app store rate, app store to download rate, click to install rate, and even conversion rate. We can define an overall conversion also from impression to in-app event. This is for an e-commerce part. Similarly, let's say out of total visitors to a product page, how many people completed and let's say the is how many people actually added things to cart and how many people completed the purchase. Now, can you guess for Amazon or Flipkart, what will be the typical percentage? Let's say out of 100 people visiting Amazon or Flipkart, how many people would be converting or purchasing things? Take a guess. Would it be higher for Amazon or would it be higher for Flipkart? What do you guys think? This can be a good, number to look at across your competitors for benchmarking. So anyone taking a guess? How much would be the conversion rate for websites like Amazon or Flipkart? Okay, you've been saying probably 45%. Okay, anyone else? 30% is what Swaminath is saying. All right. Okay, great. So I think this is a number that you guys try to Google about it. We'll discuss about this in the next session. You will be surprised though with the amount of people visit the website but they don't purchase, okay, or they just be there at a subsequent stage of adding things to cart, and still the company is profitable. Okay, so do look at this. This is a good. I mean, from industry to industry, it might vary as well, but we'll discuss about this. Do some research. We'll take it up in the next session. As far as the defining conversion rate is concerned, so I was mentioning that it is up to the marketer to decide what conversion you would want to monitor. So in general, e-commerce companies, fintech companies, payments, generally the transaction for most of the cases is the conversion we are looking forward to. If you go to media and content companies, let's say music apps, subscription is the thing that we're looking at, OTT platforms as well. In case of social media companies, we look at, let's say if you look at Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, when they want to monitor conversion for them means sign up or registration. If you look at stores or offline businesses, we look at the purchase finally. That for us is the conversion part. So conversion definition would be on the context of the marketer. Now, a few other concepts before we kind of go towards the last few areas of our discussion today is customer engagement and loyalty. When we want to convert the customer, there are stages which happen before the conversion and after the conversion. Before the conversion, the concept is customer engagement. So can we keep the customers engaged with our content? Can we engage them on our promotions, on our assets, the marketing assets, websites, apps, offline stores? The customer loyalty is things which are after the purchase. Let's say, can we have consistently positive emotional experience for the customer so that the customer is satisfied to the highest level and they keep coming back again and again? If people are loyal, if our profitable customers are loyal to us, then this will help the company to grow sustainably and probably result in higher profits. As we discussed that, it is less costly to serve your existing customers, to sell to existing customers. So this is where, again, from the illustration perspective, I'll show you a video which is from measuring customer engagement point of view. Interesting one from how gaming industry looks at engagement. Very simple concepts, but very effective concepts. Let me turn off my video. I'll just try to play this in YouTube, and you guys observe how customer engagement is being measured in the mobile industry, and same thing will impact, let's say, other industries as well. You'll find similar concepts are covered for measurements. Okay, let me just play this in YouTube. I hope this buffers quickly. Then we'll take an example of e-commerce part to look at how they measure efforts on engagement and loyalty. All right, let me just share the sound. If there is an ad or something, we'll skip it. Otherwise, I think we should be good to go. There is a short video.
How do we tell if a game is actually engaging? Well, we can usually look at how popular the game is by finding out if the game is downloaded a lot and if the reviews are good. For example, here we can see game apps in the Amazon App Store. And we can see the number of reviews and the star rating from 1 to 5 stars. And this is a good idea of how engaging our game is. If the game has a rating close to 5 stars, it's probably pretty fun. And if it's lower, then maybe there's something the users don't like about it. We can also look at how long and how often players use our game and measure engagement. Here are some terms we use to measure it: session count, session length, and retention. Session count is the number of times an app is launched. So anytime a player opens the app, whether that's once a week or 10 times a day, the session count goes up. And if we look at the average session counts for a player over a day, we can get a pretty good idea of how addicting our game is. But some games are designed for longer sessions instead of multiple short sessions, so the session length is also important. Session length is the amount of time that the app is in use for a particular session. So whether that's a few minutes or going on and on to lengths of hours. And again, for this to be a useful metric, we would usually look at the average session length across users to see how long a typical user plays once they open the app. And we also look at retention, which is a measure of how many users continue to play your game as time goes on. Usually, game retention is measured a day after your game is first launched and downloaded, a week after, and a month after, just to see how many of your original players you keep over time. Say you want to measure retention over a week for the game Fruit Ninja. That means you want to see how many people who started at the beginning of the week are still around at the end of the week. During the week, some of these early users will leave Fruit Ninja and new ones will join, but we don't want to take into account the new ones. We just want to see who started at the beginning of the week and stayed throughout the whole week. To calculate this, you need to look at the users at the end of the week, minus any of the newcomers who joined in the middle of the week, all divided by the number of users that started at the beginning of the week. Then multiply all this by 100 to get a percentage, and this is going to be your retention for the week. So let's look at some numbers for Fruit Ninja. Let's say we had 400 people download the game at the start of the week, and there's 700 total by the end of the week. That looks pretty good, but we also know that 500 of these people are new. They joined in the middle of the week, and they aren't part of our 400 original starting players. So let's calculate the retention. First, we have 700 from the end of the week, minus the 500 new players that joined midweek, so we're only accounting for our original 400 to see who stuck around, all divided by our 400 original players, then times 100 to get a percentage. This is going to be 200 over 400, or half, times 100%, which is going to give us 50% retention over this week, which is pretty good. Ideally, we'd want 100% retention, which means everyone who downloads your game keeps playing it and never quits. But no game has perfect retention, and even really great games have around 50% retention after just the first day. That means that half the players leave during the first 24 hours of playing. This seems like a lot of people leaving, but it's considered pretty good retention, especially if your game is good at getting new players over time. It won't matter that a lot of older ones leave. Lots of developers use a 40-20-10 rule as a guideline for good retention over a day, a week, and a month. So after a game is downloaded by a bunch of people, we have 100% of people, 40% of those users stick around after the first day. 20% of those stay for a week, and only 10% stay for a whole month, and even longer usually. If you have retention at these time points, a day, a week, or a month, that's higher, that's great. If it's any lower, that's considered bad retention.
All right, so a very simple example in terms of how the mobile gaming industry has kind of,
Today, there's a huge shortage of CPAs in America.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the number of accountants and auditors employed dropped.
I was mentioning about, very simple common sense methodology for measuring, let's say, the retention part. But it is an important measurement. Let me also show you some measurements which are done by e-commerce industries to have a quick review of the matrices which are there from engagement and loyalty perspective. We can define, as a marketing analytics person, we can define matrices either from the mobile gaming point of view, or you can have your own things. let's look at a few matrices which are being captured at Amazon. Okay. So at Amazon, what they capture is a metric called as guest checkout rates. Okay. So you would have seen that if you go to Amazon.com, you have an option of logging in or just browsing Amazon.com without logging in, okay, without signing into your account. If you are not logging in, then you are a guest. And if you completed a purchase as a guest, then this is called as a guest checkout. So over here, what Amazon measures is the number of customers who completed a purchase without making an account. So how do we calculate number of orders completed by guest divided by the total number of orders over a period of time? Okay. The assumption over here is when a customer creates an account, they are more likely to come back to Amazon itself. They will have more brand loyalty if they make an account over here. That is the same thing which happens in case of ODD platforms and so on and so forth. The metric 2 there measure is purchase frequency, okay, which is quite intuitive. How often customers are coming back again and again and purchasing things. Okay, so we will just look at total number of orders, let's say in a year, divided by the number of unique customers. Okay, this will give us an idea about what is the purchase frequency. Now you would want to have higher purchase frequency. That is what Amazon is monitoring. Now, would purchase frequency be affected by any of the product decisions? Let's see what you guys suggest. Any product decision might affect purchase frequency, any product or marketing decision, which you can use to drive purchase frequency. Let's say in case of big billion days, do you think the purchase frequency will go up? Yes, right? So over here, as a marketer, you do have your own weapons to look at the business as usual numbers and impact of the decision that you want to take. Okay, so let's say a big billion campaign, if you want to see if it is really impactful, then the purchase frequency should be picking up. Average order value tells you about the type of customers and the type of categories that people are buying on your website or your business. This is where we can look at the total revenue and divide by the total number of orders. That will give us an average number. This is also used for competition benchmarking. So Amazon would like to know, are we better than Flipkart on this average order value, or is it better on Nykaa, or so on and so forth. So industry benchmarking can be done on AOV. Another very simple part is repeat purchase rate, which is percentage of customers who have made more than one purchase at your store compared to people who have made only one purchase. Okay, so out of your let's say total customer base who have made at least one purchase, how many of them keep purchasing more than once? Okay? So that percentage tells you about the level of loyalty, and it is a good number to look at and monitor. Okay? These are the few matrices which Amazon, and let's say when we looked at conversion rates or the gaming example, these are the kind of matrices which are common sense matrices which are being used in the industry. We can combine these matrices. So I think if you go through your asynchronous content, you will find that there is a discussion on combining matrices, which is, if I look at average order value and engagement, I can very well understand how good we are doing on the customer lifetime value. Okay? If people are kind of coming back again and again, generally maybe the average order value will go up. We can also look at average order value and conversion rates. More the conversion rate, more the average order value, it will have an impact on the overall value that we are generating from the revenue perspective. We can also look at average order value with respect to customer acquisition cost. If average order value is better than the conversion customer acquisition cost, then probably just one order is required to get profitable, and rest will be all in the profits of the company. These are the things that we can do from our marketing analytics point of view. Okay. The last part that we have today is about testing. There are, let's say, after we looked at the data matrices, the way to use tools for capturing data, the last part is testing things. This is where we use the data analytics and use it for customer experiences. So here is just a quick case study, which is there on Canon versus Nikon. I'll just show you what is happening over here. So you have an ad that, let's say, the marketer is placing on Facebook. Okay. So for Canon, the left-hand side ad was there, and Nikon, the right-hand side ad was there. Okay. Now, for this, these two ads, the data was captured that, in both the scenarios, marketing team was given a budget of 1 lakh. Canon generated the impressions, which is the number of views of the ads, which is 10 lakhs. They had 2,000 clicks from the people. 20 people ultimately converted, and the cost of the camera was 50,000. Okay. So 20 multiplied by 50,000, 10 lakhs is the revenue which Canon generated. Let's look at Nikon. Nikon over here spent again 1 lakh. They had 5 lakh views. 2,000 people clicked for them as well, but conversions were 40. So 40 multiplied by 20,000 was the cost of the camera over here. They generated a revenue of 8 lakh. Okay. Now, what you guys have to tell me is, if you are a marketing analytics person and you're looking at this data, can you tell me which company or which marketing team is doing a better job over here? Is it Canon or Nikon according to you? Okay. And don't worry about being right or wrong. Let's see what people are saying. So according to you, if you have to decide which marketing team is doing good by looking at the data, which one do you think is doing a better job? Okay, Ashish is saying it's Nikon. All right, so we have 1 vote for Nikon. How about others? Swaminath is also saying it's Nikon. Okay, so we have 2 people saying Nikon. Anyone else would like to give their opinion? Okay, UVN is also saying it's Nikon. Okay, 3 people are saying, majority is roughly what I can see is saying Nikon. Anyone for Canon over here? Do you think Canon is... Okay, Sanita is also saying Nikon because they have more conversions. Okay, so let me give you a context. So suppose you are a business person and you need to invest money into either Canon or Nikon on the basis of whatever is going on over here. Okay. You gave 1 lakh to the marketing team of Canon and they came back to you with 10 lakh rupees of revenue. You gave the same to Nikon, 1 lakh rupees, and they came back to you with 8 lakh rupees of revenue. Do you think your decision would change now from Nikon to Canon? Canon is generating more revenue in the same amount of money. Do you think Canon is doing something good? Anything which Canon is doing good? Okay, you is saying yes, probably. Okay, so over here, okay, Kirtika is saying probably the pricing is more. Swaminath is also saying yes, less conversions but more revenue. So probably it might be that Canon is more profitable. Maybe they have figured out the right pricing. Okay, maybe they are able to sell things on a premium, though the number of conversions are high for Nikon. Now, the number of conversions can be high for Nikon because of multiple things. It can be because maybe the price is less, the cost of camera is less. It can be because maybe the Nikon's marketing team was able to create a better ad. Okay, better ad in the sense, let's go back. Let's look at this ad. So over here, do you think anything which will help to push this product more? Anything that you see in this creator, which is 45%, right? So 45%, sorry. Yeah, 45% over here. Discount is something which can be a big factor. All right. Canon actually is not selling at a discount. They're not even mentioning about any discount as such. Okay. So over here, there are both the companies which are doing good on certain aspects. Canon is selling without discount. Nikon is selling with discounts. Maybe the target audience is also differing. They're trying to reach out to different segments. Okay. So over here, as a marketer or as a marketing analytics person, what you would kind of do is you would look at, okay, Canon, how are they able to reach out to 10 lakh people in 1 lakh budget? Maybe this is a problem that you would try to diagnose. Okay. You would want to understand what is the learning from here. How is Canon able to use same Facebook marketing to reach more people in 1 lakh rupees? Whereas if you look at Nikon, Nikon is doing a great job because they are reaching half the people, but more people are clicking. So maybe they're building a better ad. Maybe they are doing better targeting. The conversions are also great for, let's say conversion rate is quite good for Nikon. So probably the positioning that they have, the proposition that they have, the offer that they have, they are able to put forward a great offer. Maybe over here, Canon can learn something from Nikon, Nikon can learn something from Canon, and they can get better. Okay. there is no need to panic on either side. Both the companies are kind of doing fair enough. So these are the kind of things which is where the testing is also done. The testing would be a very simple testing called as A/B testing, where you create a version of the ad and you create a slight variation. Okay, for example, we just change the color from light blue to, let's say, purple or dark blue. Okay, and we'll try to monitor where the conversions are going higher. This is called as a A/B test. We change one variable and see what is the impact on conversions. Another testing mechanism is conjoint analysis. Now, conjoint analysis is, instead of changing one variable, let's look at multiple variables and the impact on purchase decisions. Okay, so let's say over here, we are thinking about 3 brands, Apple, Sony, and Nokia, and we are considering multiple variables like price, operating system, screen size, and camera resolution, which we think would be impacting the purchase decisions. We collect the data for this particular set and try to look at what will be the estimated market share based on our findings. Okay, so over here, let's say we figured out that a couple of things. Let's say output would be, according to our survey, our findings, this is an estimated market share, maybe highest for Apple, and relative importance of the feature. So whenever we are doing this kind of analysis, we call it conjoint analysis. That is what should be good to know as of now. There is a case study which is present in your asynchronous content. I will urge you to kind of go through that. That defines what exactly are the steps, how does it happen, and so on and so forth. Okay. There is another part, the last part for our session today, which is natural language processing. So over here, in the world of huge amount of content which is getting generated digitally, what we do is we capture unstructured raw data and we try to build use cases out of this. Okay? So use cases would be, if I go through the customer feedback data, sentences, paragraphs, which people have written in the reviews, I can try to figure out what is the customer sentiment. I can try to figure out what are the trending things which people are talking about. This can help me in making better content writing, making or working on content personalization and driving customer experience. So these are the things which is where you have various tools existing. For example, there is something called as word cloud generators. I'll show you one. Maybe let me take you back to a website, which is monkeylearn.com. Okay, let me try if I can show you a live example. Okay, just give me a second. So over here, I think I'll have to open a new window altogether. Maybe we'll exceed our session by 5 minutes. We started off also late by 5 minutes, but just bear with me for a few minutes. So there are various word cloud generators these days which are kind of available. I'll show you one of them, which is monkeylearn. And what I want you guys to maybe write in the chat is, okay, maybe not in the chat. I need to kind of, okay, write a few sentences in the chat about, let's say, a brand. Okay, write a few sentences about Apple as a brand. Okay, you can write whatever you want, just random things. I'll put it in the word cloud generator and we'll see the result. Okay, we'll try to capture the sentiment of what you guys mentioned and what is the most frequent word which was there in your feedbacks. Okay, so let's give a feedback for Apple as a product or a brand, and let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, and you can do it in the chat itself. I'll just copy paste it in the word cloud generator. Okay, anyone going ahead? Can you type in a few things? Okay, let me do this on my own over here. So let's say I'm randomly type. Okay, I'm copying from what UVN has put forward, largest tech company. Okay, thanks guys. So let's quickly build this up over here. Apple is Okay, I'm copying what Ashish has written. I'll just write myself. Too expensive. Quick response. Famous for iPhones. Okay, let's quickly type them out. Okay, maybe. All right, let's also write something randomly. Okay, sponsor. That's add y quick interface, and let's generate a word cloud over here. Of course, if we had better data, it would be better generated. But anyways, let's see these kind of tools. This is how it is coming out as of now. Okay, so we have almost everything just happening once, so we don't have a prominent thing repeating. But you can have a word cloud generated like this. You have an analysis. Now this can be done on customer feedback data. Okay, qualitative feedback which people give in sentences, and this can be used to generate sentiment analysis as well. Okay, so what kind of sentiment is generally there? These kind of tools, they try to give you a rough answer. So over here, let's say whatever words we typed, they're saying that most of the words were positive. So 99% confidence that there is a positive sentiment. These kind of things are what people try to monitor. In fact, in your simulation as well, you have a sentimental analysis which is given for you guys to kind of read through and then take decisions. Okay. Anyways, I think for now, I think we would have covered the concept part. Maybe you can experiment later to figure out in real life some examples from your company itself to do the sentimental analysis. Very widely used these days. Good amount of data is also available. Okay. The last part that we have for our session today is something called as market basket analysis. So companies which are in the e-commerce particularly or FMCG, not only they monitor, let's say, the data point that we discussed earlier, they also look at what is the combination that people are buying. Okay, so for example, over here, interesting thing is people are buying diapers and beers together. So probably the male candidates are shopping. We also try to identify, is there an association? When people buy this, then they buy this also. That is called as association, apart from the category buying or things which people are buying together as an item set. That is roughly called as market basket analysis, an important analysis based on which you can build recommendation engine. So let's say if you bought something, then a recommended product would be given to you. And the last part is on the pricing influence. So we have, let's say, your pricing decisions based on the data that we have captured through various analytics, the matrices that you were looking at. You might want to set up your pricing decisions or price strategy. Broadly, what we can remember is 4 quadrants. So let's say if you want to go for high to low price segments, so let's say a high price with a high quality offer, that is where you're launching a premium segment. Okay? So let's say Mercedes-Benz of the world, that is what they kind of try to position themselves into. Skimming is when you have a price with a low quality product, you have a high price. This is where you're trying to skim the market. It doesn't last long because people figure out an alternative. You have another option, which is you keep a high quality at a low price. So you are having a penetration pricing. You want to gain market share over here. And then you have a mass market pricing strategy, which is low price, low quality. I want to kind of cater to the last masses segment. These are the broad 4 ways in which we try to look at the data analytics and then fix on the pricing mechanisms. There is also other pricing strategies. I think what I'll do is I'll take them up for our discussion tomorrow. I think we have already exceeded time, so I think we'll stop it over here. I'll take this pricing decisions. I would want to talk about a few things over here and then show you an example, which was about a case study for Mercedes-Benz. I think we'll park it up for our session, not tomorrow. I think the next session happens on Saturday. So we'll take it up over there. For now, I think we're good to go up till here. If you guys have any questions or queries, we can take it up right now, or otherwise you can feel free to connect on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, or you can write an email. Okay. So thanks guys for joining in today. Let me know if you have any questions or queries. We can take it up right now. Otherwise, let's catch up later. And I wish you best of luck for your simulation runs. I guess 2 practice runs you will be done with today. Then you have the assessment runs. I guess you have 1 week to complete the assessment runs. So do that, and we will catch back in the debriefing session as well as our last session number 4. All right. Thank you. Bye. Take care. Have a nice day.